Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 20s Unlocked. My name is Ben. I'm your host, and this is the third episode of our of the monthly series that we have about real estate. And today, I'm joined by one of the top sales manager when it comes to loan. His name is Michael Bertarelli. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm really happy to have you here. And just a background about Mike. He has done over was it $300 million in
Yeah,
business
roughly
over.
$300 million of residential mortgages in my career.
That's really impressive. Yeah. Do you want to talk about yourself and why you chose to be a loan officer?
Yeah, as salespeople do, they love talking about themselves. So I've been a loan officer for about 10 years. I started pretty much right out of college. I had a lot of different sales jobs. I
Mhm.
was losing those jobs. I
Mhm.
wasn't a very good employee for a lot of them. And then, as fate had it, I joined one of the largest direct to consumer
Mhm.
lenders, really in the Midwest, if not the country,
Okay.
um, just a couple of years out of school. And that propelled me into the lending world when I really, at that time, I basically didn't even know how to spell mortgage, much less do a mortgage.
Mm.
So how I started there, for 2 years, I was working 60, 70 hours a week, answering the phone day in and day out,
Wow.
taking loan applications and handing them off to other loan officers to sell.
Okay.
That's kind of how it worked. We put in our dues, we learned the process, and
Okay.
then everything that we could know.
Okay.
We worked with so many clients, and I thought looking back on it, it was incredibly valuable
Okay.
because as I work now, what I would see in a month due to the amount of leads that we would get
Mhm.
inbound, some loan officers don't see that in a lifetime.
Wow.
So I was able to see a huge amount of this industry in such
Right.
a really small amount of time. So that was really invaluable. So I did that for 2 years in the company, and
Right.
then I was promoted to an actual loan officer. I
Okay.
got my license and
Okay.
did all that, and then I was, it was kind of like a more of a sales loan officer job. Like,
Mhm.
we didn't go out and hunt for our own food, meaning like
Mm.
I didn't connect with you
Okay.
to work with your clients. We
Okay.
advertised a lot on the radio,
Okay.
TV stations, all of that,
Okay.
and these clients would call in and we would do their mortgages. It was pretty easy.
Right.
And so then at that time, I had guys that were answering the phone for me.
Mm.
They would then hand the information off to me. I would
Mhm.
then speak to the clients,
Mhm.
and then we would get the actual loan process going. So I was one that did that. So I did that for about 6 years, 7 years
Right.
after the 2 years of just answering the phones.
Wow.
And I did that for a long time. And then I left that company, um, and then went into what's more so called like retail lending, which is
Mm.
basically where you go out and get your own business.
Right.
Exactly what you're doing now. So I've been doing that exact retail side for about 2 years now,
Mhm.
and it's been really great. But yeah, it's a grind
Yeah.
day in and day out, as I'm sure you know, and we've worked
Yeah.
together a little bit. But
Yeah.
it's a fun grind.
Yeah.
Really enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been. If you guys don't know, Mike is also my lender, and it really helped me with my own house that I just bought.
Big, huge.
And yeah, so it was a crazy one.
Yeah,
For being my first deal, and the first time that I'm going through the whole process, it's been really crazy. But having someone like you know, uh, by your side, it's really helpful, and that's what I'm excited about today to kind of go through this and break down like all the
awesome.
steps of the
Yeah,
loan
I
process.
appreciate it.
Um, so can you kind of walk me through the home loan, like the home loan process? Like,
Sure.
what is it like?
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty loaded question, but it's because everyone's process is different. I think a
Okay.
lot of people and a lot of companies in our space, like our just off the bat, like the lending space in general, and same with real estate. There's so many different options, right? Like you hear that from your clients like all the time. Oh, I can talk to this guy, or my dad knows a lender, or my aunt's a lender at a different company, and like we could sit here for an hour and probably couldn't even name half the companies out there, right? So a lot of companies fall into this issue of, hey, all of these clients are in one box, and this is how we do it. I take the approach of being much more consultative versus like, hey, just fill out my application. I'll pull your credit. You know, here's the loans that I do. I don't really want to hear it. Like I know all the answers. That's not how a consumer demands a product, right? In today's age, like it bleeds into everything. In today's age, like we're not immune to the consumer, I think, as a lender, right? Like I can't sit here and be like, hey, my consumer buys everything on Amazon. They do everything online. They're able to customize everything that they could ever want in every other aspect of their life. Then when they come to me for a mortgage, I'm the guy that tells them that they have no other options outside of what I'm telling them, right? And so I take that super seriously, because if I don't evolve into what the consumer demands, I'm just going to go off the wayside. I'm not going to get any business, right? Because if you come to me and you've done your research, like you're a perfect example of the current home buyer. You're younger, you're using the internet. You know, you'd be surprised at how many people don't, like just in general, like they use it for other stuff, but like when it comes to gathering information, you know, you're using all these spheres, and then you're bringing them to me. And you're like, hey, this is what I know. I want to talk about these different options because I've already kind of done my digging, right? So it's really important for me to take on that consultative approach and be like, yeah, we are a team. You kind of know what you want. I know what I have. Let's kind of fuse those together into something that we can have that you know, you're excited about, right? So a bit off topic, but that's kind of where I start. And I think is kind of my niche a bit, is that, again, a lot of these loan officers, and again, our industry is a bit older, right? Like you work in an office with a lot of really young, hungry people. But there are a lot of, you know, not to speak out of turn, like there's the old adage of like, hey, if it's this white-haired banker sitting in a tower, like maybe we'll give them a loan. You know, it's just not really like that anymore. And if it is, I want to change that, you know. So kind of back to your question though, there's a few big steps that I think to mention. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and we can talk about all those if you want. But the first one is going to be the consultation. We're going to talk about, hey, first off, what are your goals? What is your budget like? Because that's really important too. A lot of people go in to be like, what size home do you want to buy? And that, like, people are like, oh, I want a $500,000 house. And what if I tell you, hey, that $500,000 house is a $4,000 payment? You're like, well, actually, I can only afford $2,500. Okay, well, now the entirety of everything that you've looked at between now doesn't make any sense. So it's really important to kind of talk about those things. What does a budget look like for you? Say, hey, you know, I've had these conversations. Hey, if you lost your job tomorrow, are you even okay to have a home? You know, there's sales and then there's consultative sales. And it does require those tough conversations. So throughout that process, again, we're talking about their budget, we're talking about their goals, we're talking about how long they're going to be in that house, because that can all change things based upon what maybe loan products I have. So at my company, I have about 500-ish loan products.
Wow.
It's a boatload.
That was going to be like my next question.
we have so many. And that's not to say, like, I mean, a fraction of those are going to work for a certain person versus another. But that's just to say that it's a lot of legwork on our end, which is, you know, why we have the job, is to sift through those loan products and to make sure that we're aligning you with the best ones that can fit what you're looking to do. So I get that initial information. I do the pre-qualification, pre-approval. So that's going to be, you know, getting your income history. It's going to be, you know, getting all the clerical stuff, legal name, where do you live, all that fun stuff. And, you know, figuring out, you know, how much money do you have? Do you have money saved up for a down payment? Do you not have enough that you need? Okay, do we have to start looking at down payment assistance programs? There's millions of those. Not literally millions, but there's a lot of them. So I have to, you know, comb through all those. And then what we do, we come out on the other side These are a couple options that I think work for you.
Mm.
Do we have to decide that now? No. But hey, we believe that we can do a loan for you. Let's go out and try to find a house.
And so like, what are those like loan products that you guys have? Like, what are some of the most common loan products that you
Sure,
guys?
your most common ones are always going to be, your over the this is it's changed in the lending landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I were to, my answer would be different 2 years ago versus now.
Okay.
Because it has just been so competitive with higher interest rates and things like that. But I would say the number one is a conventional loan.
Right.
Where you can do, a minimum of 3% down as a first-time home buyer. I would say second's going to be your FHA financing.
Yeah.
You've got your VA for your veterans and active service members, and
Yeah.
you've got USDA loans, which is more rural areas where they can put 0% down.
Okay.
Middle Missouri, where I do most of my business, is really USDA heavy, just because it is really rural. But and then you have your jumbo loans, that's going to be higher than your conforming loan
Yeah.
limits. And then you're going to also have what's called your non-QM loans,
Right.
non-qualified mortgage. Effectively,
Yeah.
hey, I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
I write off all my income on my taxes. I don't show anything. It's like, okay, well, we have other outlets that maybe we can lend on based upon, your bank statements, your profit and loss statements, your assets, any number of things. So I would say those are the biggest ones. There's really not many loans that we can't do though. Like you would be surprised in, what I've seen over the years. Like I like to think I don't live in a bubble, but in this industry, I've realized I do live in a bubble. Like I don't know, like the country is just so big,
Right.
and there's so many different people from so many different walks of life, and they all have different financial profile, I would call it. Whether that be, hey, I have $0 to my name, or I have $10 million to my name, or I'm looking at a $50,000 house or a $15 million house, or my credit score is X, or my credit score is Y. Like all of those different variables intertwining can change all these profiles. So it is a learning experience. I mean, literally every day,
Right.
of how do we work with different clients. And again, I harp on this so much, but I don't believe in the adage of trying to slam a square peg into a round hole.
Okay, can you explain that?
So a lot of lenders have done this for years.
Okay.
This is what we're good at. It's the circle, right?
Okay.
This is our loan. This is our top product, right?
Okay.
And the client is the square peg.
Okay.
You can't put a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, then that turns into a problem for them, right? And again, I've just never believed in that. Like I don't think that there is just some profile of a client that this is what you have to be to get a mortgage. I believe that everybody, to some extent, has the ability to be worked with and get a mortgage. Right. I don't think I'm trying to reach this one little point of, hey, everybody needs to fit this exact mold. Right. I don't believe in that at all. I think there's a million different ways that somebody can get financing. I think there's a million different ways they can have income, a million different ways for down payment, all of that stuff. And I'm trying to get away from people believing like, hey, probably when you started looking for a mortgage, you're like, man, I have to have 20% down.
I just had that question yesterday.
Right. A lot of people believe that. And that would be the same thing because that's what they know. And that would be great if they did. I know that would be so easy. It's not realistic. So people have to understand that there are lenders out there that are just trying to make you fit this profile. And we want to work with you with what you have, not with what you should have.
One second. I think the mic is off.